and welcome back to the second episode of Bows and Beers podcast. I am joined by my co-host, Adam Ravenscroft.
Good evening.
And Carl Richards. We're back for a second episode, because we fancied it. We'll keep this going for a while. Last time we chatted about outdoors and what we've done recently. I'm thinking today we'll chat a little bit about what changes we're making to get ready for outdoors and what our early season's going to look like, as well as maybe getting into our tournament schedule. Mainly comparing how much field versus target we're looking to do, because we all shoot both. So, I suppose the first question is, what do people do to change their outdoor and indoor setups?
So for me, when it comes to outdoors, that's the time when generally I put new strings on. I don't change my strings for indoors quite often unless they're really worn. I don't do an awful lot indoors. That's probably why I don't do an awful lot indoors. But yeah, if they're really worn, I'll change strings for indoors. But strings for outdoors definitely. It's a big summer season. I do a lot of outdoor shooting. And then it's just a thinner blade. Get the thin arrows out. I mean, I'm probably like yourselves, quite lucky that I've got two setups. One I'll only set one up for indoors, and I'll leave one set up for outdoors just in case I fancy doing any field shooting over winter, or fancy going down the club field and just having a shoot at 50 metres. But then, yeah, the indoor bow will definitely become the outdoor bow. After, I think I shot a competition last weekend, got my county champs in a couple of weeks, as we mentioned last week. And then, yeah, it's all go for outdoors.
I know I tend to find I change my draw length a little bit, and my peep height tends to be the two main things I change. I'm 2 strings a year kind of person. It's changed them ready for outdoors and ready for indoors, which is probably stupid because I shoot very little indoors, like I think all 3 of us do. Shoot the regional counties and nationals, and that's about it. But I think it's just a little bit of confidence. But other than that, again, skinny blade, raise the rest a touch, but that's all through group tuning and paper tuning and everything. Maybe change peep aperture and maybe clarifier, depending on how I'm feeling at the start of the season. They'll change a little bit throughout the year anyway.
God, you're key.
My draw length changes on a weekly basis, to be fair. Everything changes.
Yeah, then I go from a dot to a fibre, thick blade to thin blade. It's about the only things that I change. But then I don't really change it because I just swap the outdoor bow for the indoor bow.
Yeah. So field-wise for you two, do you have a different field setup? If maybe for WA rather than IFA for ranging?
I'm quite bored.
If I shoot IFA, I tend to shoot my target bow because it's all marked anyway. My target bow will have a sight tape on it, and there's maybe 1 or 2 IFA courses in this country that are up and down. Not many that are too challenging on the ups and downs. Whereas the world archery stuff, you need to set it so that you've got your cheat system, your ranging system. It's where you start. So bow starts with the ranging system, so the ranging system works, and then you work backwards from that. So I tend to have a field bow and a target bow, and the target bow tends to get used for IFA as well. Don't do any 3D.
Sorry, why do you use your target bow for IFA rather than your field bow?
It's marked. It's all marked.
Yeah.
And I'd set the target bow up to be more accurate, so I'd tune it for being accurate at distances that I know, rather than setting the bow up so that I can tell the distance using the bow.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, you're not.
It's one of the reasons I don't really get along with WA field, because I don't see the point in doing unmarked when everyone's got a cheat system anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get you.
Let me shoot my arrows. If I want to go and into a tournament and judge distances, I'll go to distance judging tournament, not an archery tournament.
What you mean, like field archery?
How about you? Do you have any different setups? Obviously, WA is probably going to be a little different than IFA, but
I mean, I have a field setup. I don't do field as much as Chad does. Um, my my field setup consists of obviously a sight tape. You don't want to. No one wants to do field without the proper markings. I know some people carry the sheets around with the meter marks. I'm a lot lazier than that. I'd lose that piece of paper. Um, so I've got the sight tape on, and I guess I'm quite lucky, and the way my scope's set up, it kind of fell in line with my measurements. So I managed just to use that, and it's fine. It works. Job done.
yeah.
I shoot a dot at target. Big dot. If the bigger the dot, for the bigger the target. But yeah, field is fibre. I don't know many people that shoot a dot around a field course because you need to be able to see your sight pin. And as soon as you get inside the trees, you just lose it.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of people on WA field that would like to have a battery pack, a lighter kit for their fibre, just so that you can see it better. But obviously not on WA.
Yeah.
Battery
That's what I like about IFA. IFA's kind of anything goes, rangefinders, light kits, everything.
magnet down the middle of the target.
Yeah, feels like it sometimes. But yeah, IFA's just my normal 50-meter setup because it's tuned well and shoots well. But for WA, I've got to move my sight out to the furthest extension, run a 0.5 lens rather than 0.75, and I tend to use a fibre. But other than that, it's exactly the same. I will run my target and IFA bow as my field bow and just put my sight further out with a different sight tape on it. I've got a different extension bar that I use for WA. Not that I've done that much, but I'm going to do more. After British Field Champs last year, I think I got a bit more of a love for it again. After not doing it for 5 years.
Yeah, I was looking
Someone
at the
once
calendar.
told me the less changes you have between bows, the easier it is to go between the bows. If you've got, because my indoor bow is longer in draw length, and I shoot a dot. Target bow tends to be a tiny little bit different in the draw length, only a little bit. But then the field bow tends to be a little bit shorter in that draw length as well.
Yeah.
So I've gone from being able to do everything with one bow and just doing it easily, and then now I've got 3 bows. All
Why do you go for that shorter draw length, Chad? When you field bow?
on the field, mainly for ups and downs, so that I'm not searching for an anchor point, so that I don't lose. I can get into the up and down. You lose a little bit on the flat, but it makes it a lot easier for the ups and downs.
You find that gives you more points, helps?
You got me over the 400 line,
Nice.
so there's got to be something to it. I don't think I'm the kind of person to explain the science behind it, but I'm sure someone can.
I'm sure
any
there's
of us can explain the science behind it. None of us are that way inclined. But I suppose leading away from field in a bit of a segue before we leave, what would you say to people wanting to try field for the first time? From someone coming from a target background?
do a bit of preparation. Go down your field. The one thing I do, well, probably one of the only things I do to prepare for field, is go down my club field and pretty much lay arrows out at every 5 meters and work my sight marks, work through the sight tape, check the sight tape, and just get used to moving your sight backwards and forwards and making sure every mark is correct. Because whether it's marked or unmarked, if your sight marks aren't right, it's going to mess you up a little bit. Don't be afraid to use your arrows, because I know so many people that go, I'm going to go and buy some cheap arrows so that I can fling them around a field course. Don't expect cheap arrows to do what your nice expensive arrows are doing. You're going to do it, commit to it.
Tends to be people that worried about losing arrows. Oh, I don't want to lose my arrows, so I'm going to go and buy some cheap ones. It's like you're definitely going to lose the arrows if you're buying cheap ones that aren't as good as your normal ones. If you shoot normal ones, you more than likely won't lose them. I think I've lost more arrows on a target field from being an absolute goob than I have from losing arrows on a field course, because you tend to take a bit more time and effort over making sure that you've got like your unknown distances right. If I can learn a ranging system, anyone can learn a ranging system. It's not hard.
If all three of us can learn a ranging system, anybody can learn a ranging system. I think
it's fear of the unknown, to be fair. You go from shooting a distance that you know is that distance on a flat field where you can see everything, to walking around essentially a golf course in the woods, shooting at different targets every 3 arrows. It can be a little bit daunting, but there's enough open days in clubs out there with people that have done it enough that if you ask, we're more than happy to take people around. We're doing a Dern Open Day in March, I think it is, which is that'll be the start of our outdoors.
I was having a look at this the other day, and I never realised there was one in January, but there's also one in February.
January, February, March, I think.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Good bit of pre-season testing, and really good for people if they want to start and learn field archery, because it's not a tournament. It's just go around and enjoy it. You get to pick your groups. So if you know someone that's going that does field, see if you can tag along with them. Get that introduction into it in a less than.
Dern are some lovely woods that are easy to get around.
How flat is Dern?
It's not Pentreth. Do you know what I mean? You're not in a Welsh valley, but they know how to use the ground that they've got. So the past few years, they have got more and more up and down shots.
Yeah. So I think I've shot at Dern once, so I can't really remember it. I remember Pentreth. I've only shot there a handful of times, but you can't forget Pentreth.
No.
The valley that it's in, it's going back to your field prep, if you're going to go to Pentreth, and Pentreth is a great course, I fully recommend it, but go and walk some hills first. Get yourself out of breath, because it's a challenging day. You're gonna climb up to the top of a hill and then shoot 3 arrows
with all your kit, with a backpack full of drink and food that you think you're going to need for the whole day,
and then you carry on. It's like that top target. A number of times, people climb up to the top. Like, I'm just going to sit down for 5 minutes because that was hard. Yes, it is.
Yeah, until you get 3/4 of the way through the day and you've got a backlog of people behind you and 3 judges timing you on the target because you're taking 5 minutes at every peg to catch your breath. And then you start shooting the targets with a high heart rate because you're climbing up and down hills. It's a different beast.
I found that at British Field Champs last year at Overton. I'm so unfit when it comes to climbing and long walks. Jeez.
I don't think anyone can go around Overton with a bow and claim to be fit unless you live on them in that bowl.
Again, brilliant course. Loved every single arrow that I shot there, even the ones that I missed, which was 2 of them. Thankfully, that was the unmarked day, but I loved every single
target completely.
One completely misjudged it and shot one straight into the wood under the boss. And then the next target, I shot a high 1 misliner because again, just misjudged it. Yeah. First time ever running a ranging system and just my brain fell out my backside.
And that's it. Usually there is enough foam there to catch you, especially as a compound archer. Yeah. There's enough foam around it. Unless you go really wrong, there's enough foam to catch your arrow again. So you're not going to lose arrows easily. Yes, if you screw up properly.
Yeah. If you forget to change your sight or you do something really stupid, you might. But if you're running a 50+ pound compound at a decent-ish draw length and not stupidly heavy arrows, you're going to be on face, or at least on the foam.
Yeah.
I've never changed arrows between target and field. So my target arrows have always been my field arrows. So I think I shoot 58.5 poundish. That tends to be where my nice spot is, so I don't shoot at the peak 60, and my target arrows have always been light and good enough to do my field craft with.
I think as long as you're hitting it's kind of over 260, 265, you'll be fine, realistically. Obviously, the shorter draw lengths and lower pounders, they do have a bit more of a curvature as they're flying, but be fine.
260.
See, I'm sorry, I'm jumping in here. You will be absolutely fine because my bow's running at at 230.
You dream of 300.
I do.
My bow's running at 350
No,
feet.
it's really not. Yeah, but mine's
If she
only
runs at like 7 feet per second, then she's fine.
200. It's 246, and I run absolutely fine. It's down to your fieldcraft and confidence. I've only lost an arrow when I've had a meltdown and I've had a misfire. That's the only time I've ever lost arrows. So it's not about speed unless you're looking for 3D, when it can be about speed because of the margins, and it's much more difficult to do a ranging system. It's possible, but it's more difficult, which is why more people need to be.
And I did that without moving my mouth, and I turned into a female while doing it.
For those wondering, that disembodied voice, if you're watching the video, is Verity, Carl's lovely, lovely missus.
That's currently doing a knitting.
Yeah.
I'm doing cross stitch and supervising, and you're not getting away with talking about field archery without getting me clanging in, I'm afraid.
Yes, very good field archer, very good.
Silent
field
producers
craft.
are not so silent anymore, apparently.
One of our producers that keep us on track, you've got her and my lovely Mrs. Jess, who's currently sat behind me animating, which you will see eventually. Back to archery.
Back to field archery.
Back to field
Target
archery.
camp last year. Fantastic weekend. Overton.
Yes,
Really
brilliant.
good course. Almost a little bit upset that there wasn't a couple more challenging shots on there, but I get it. But how nice was it, that downhill shot that was on the right hand hill?
Yeah, the
On
right
the
hand
bowl?
Warren was spectacular.
And yeah,
It was what? It was
Well, the one that came down straight down the middle.
yeah.
Yeah.
20.
40 or 50 metres.
35 metre.
What was it?
35 metre 60 face.
There you go. Someone has better knowledge and, well,
Gosh.
memory than us.
Shot off about 30 metres.
Yeah.
4 metre cut-ish.
Basically, if you go and look at any compound archer that went and shot that, everyone had a picture taken at that target. Because it really shows you the level of the course and the angles that were being shot.
Although no photos do it justice for how much of a downhill shot it was.
They never do.
You just can't
never
see
do.
it.
No.
But I was just about to say on that one as well that because you stood on such a slope, the footings are horrible for it. Obviously, by about halfway through the day, enough people have kicked into the ground to try and kick a little bit of footing in. Some people may have come along and kicked all that footing away because they're nice like that. Good pair of boots to go and kick some footing in, and don't be afraid to kick yourself a ditch and make it comfortable for yourself.
Yeah, use something like a bow stand as just a bit of leverage and a bit of a flat spot. Something that I think Verity actually taught me on one of the field days we did. Either Verity or Susan Corliss, two brilliant field archers. So, yeah.
Yeah, if you can find walking boots that have got steel toe caps or something close to steel toe caps to protect your feet while you're digging your little platform.
You want to take a trowel.
Tom uses work boots that are comfortable enough for him to walk around with, and he gets the steel toe cap benefit of digging a hole and not damaging his feet.
Yeah. But yeah, I'd say to everyone, go and try field at least once. At least you'll know if you don't enjoy it. But I think most of us would say be quite surprised if you don't enjoy it. Everyone's friendly. It's just like normal archery, and yeah, go and try it. Find your local course. Find an open day. If you're an IFA course, find a classification day and go and enjoy it.
drop Chad and V a message and find out what the calendar is, what's going on, or is that just me?
No, I do the same.
The bonus with EFA is you don't need to join a club. You can join direct for 25 quid a year. That gets you your card, and then you just find your local EFA clubs and go and do their classification days. There's not a weekend each month that hasn't got an EFA shoot on somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. With EFA, as soon as you get that book through, you know where all the shoots are. You go a bit of travel, do a bit of travelling. I do think, well, it's English field archery champs, I guess. A lot of it is, if you're a Midlander, it's brilliant because it's just stretches of the Midlands. A lot of it. And
They've got a few more down south now. I don't know about up in Dillon's area, up north.
Our closest one currently is Merlin, which is obviously Leicester way.
yeah,
I think someone's opening one in the Peak District, but
Yep.
I'm not that into EFA to know. I've shot one EFA shoot, and that's it.
That'll be where the nationals are this year, I think, or the spring nationals maybe. One of the nationals is at Peak Archers.
Yeah. But yeah, it should be good. I mean, I think British WA champs is the Southern Coast this year, isn't it? Exmouth, which I think I've looked and was 7 or 8 hours from me. I'm making a pit stop at Ravos on the way. I know that much.
So, whoever's listening to this, if you're any good at organising stuff, I feel, Dylan, you froze then. Whoever's listening to this, if you're involved in the organising, the one thing we do all want to see, and we've talked about it for years, is a WA field tour, much like the national tour for Target. We'd love a tour that goes across, counts points as a field tour.
Yeah. Something maybe even like the Five Counties field, where we have like a 5 county shoot that one of 5 counties hosted every year. Something like that, where you're just going around different courses every year and competing against teams.
Well, that's it. Europe have got the 5 Nations field, which I've still never done, and I keep looking at it, but never happens. But yeah, wouldn't it be great to have a tour across the UK and put your points together and put a proper system together to have some to build up some interest and stuff.
No, they've started. So you've got the field rankings back, and they've updated them.
Okay.
So they're a bit more in line with modern day rather than what they used to be. They've been running for the past 2 years.
I'd like to see more.
They've got a committee that are trying to move it in the right direction, but
Fabulous.
to move it in the right direction, we've also got to keep the clubs around, and to keep the clubs around, we've got to have people going and doing the shoots.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd like to see some more of the team events, because it's great to watch them on the actual World Archery stuff, but you don't get to compete in them unless you're there. I think it would be nice to have a few more team field shoots. Yeah. But again, it's organisation, it's cost, it's getting teams together. I mean, I don't think I could safely... Sorry, that was the cat shouting at me.
Yes, we heard.
Yeah, you got stuck in my chair. I couldn't honestly say I could put together a barebow and a recurve to come and shoot a field tournament with us. But if you have a random draw system, you'd probably be fine. But again, it's organisation. It's getting someone that's willing to do it, which is, I think, always the case in archery, is getting someone that has the time, that has the organisation, has the connections. But hopefully it'll come. Always takes time.
See, as much as you can't do it as together, perhaps a team round or a team combined round where British Target champs say you have 3 archers from the same county, 3 archers from the same county or region, whatever works, put together. That'd work. That'd be nice to see that as a team score or something, rather than a whole day of shooting as a team.
Yeah, each county or region hosts a qualifying tournament, and then the top 1 from each category.
Oh no, I was just thinking that at the British Target champs, if you've got a compound of recurve and a barebow from a county, there's your team.
Yeah, that would work.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
I think,
so,
I think the problem with that is you'd end up sacrificing the second day of a 2-day shoot because that's when you need to do your
Oh,
head
no,
matches.
I
So you'd
wouldn't.
have one day as a ranking round and then your second day.
No, I'm not saying it as an actual head-to-head round for the team rounds. I'm saying it as a, like you'd get at the British Target Champs where they'll call 3
Oh,
recurve.
them team rounds that you don't know you're part of a team until you get.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
You're the top scoring archer from that county, club, region, whatever it is.
Yeah, like the indoors where I don't know I'm part of a team until Tom Duncan walks up to me at Meriden with 2 medals.
Yeah, that's the job.
yeah. I had that last year. Went home, thought I hadn't won anything, and then came back and someone went, "You won a medal yesterday." I went, "Did I?" Had to go and pick it up from the entry booth.
Nice.
Pleasant surprise early in the morning.
Aren't you lucky enough to have all those archers from your county, region, club, etc.?
Yeah. But going back to our initial plan, what is everyone's tournament schedule looking like at the moment? Are you starting to get booked in for tournaments when they're opening? Is it pre-planned? Have you got a big wall calendar, or are you just winging it?
I'm just doing it on Google Calendar, to be honest. I mean, as we've said, I think the first field shoot for me is the one in March at Durn.
Yeah.
I know there's someone saying that there's a competition at Clevedon Archers in Newcastle, or near Newcastle. It's not
Close
Newcastle,
enough.
is it?
Sunderland.
Sunderland, there you go, thank you. But there's also Glen 720 that same weekend.
Don't forget that's meant to be a suit fitting weekend as well.
I think you should get your suits fitted in Leicester, I'm just saying. National Tour's coming up. I know that'll be on the cards. Not sure I'm doing the British Field Champs at the moment.
Who am I made a carpool with?
Avert the eyes. Avert the eyes.
But
We've got quite a few booked in at the moment, haven't we, to be fair? Eton Manor is, for us, last weekend in Feb, 21st of Feb. So that'll be us getting ready for outdoors, changing everything over that we need to change over, putting new strings on, retuning. And then end of March looks like it's the first time we're actually anything on the calendar we're going outdoors for a bit of field prep. We got some Meriden 720s, but Malvern are also doing some 720s this year on a Friday. So they kick them off at like 5:30 in the evening, so it's like an after work 720 on a Friday. Single detail, small field. Well, record status, not world record status, I don't think, but UK record status.
I thought they set it years ago that every 720 was world record status.
Oh, it is. Well, no, I'm sorry. I am.
Every 720 in the UK is world record status. They made that ruling years ago that they were going to enforce it because there's no.
Is it just the old English rounds that are UK record status rather than world record status?
I think there's some that they can do as world record status, and I think if the organisers kind of screw up or accidentally screw up a little bit, that they can downgrade them to UK record status.
Oh, it's a slap on the wrist punishment type thing.
Yeah. Yeah, obviously, if they try and let you do sight marks every dozen or every distance, what they did a few years ago, that does lose all record status. Don't let any judge convince you that you get sight marks on every distance on a WA 1440. You don't.
No, it'd be nice if you did, but no.
I mean, it would also be nice if I could scrub my lowest scoring end and replace it with another one. You know, have a chance.
30 metres, preferably.
Oh, that's not allowed either.
And every time I bring up banking your best practice end and using that at another time throughout the day, I keep getting shot down as well. So
I think you should have one
Yes,
bow
but-
at the end.
But
One.
but changing your 54 out with a 90 because you've shot 9 arrows doesn't really work for them.
It's all in the details. It's all in the details.
What, you can score your lowest scoring 6 in your practice end of 9?
Yes.
I'm not sure it's going to be your best end again. But yeah, generally, for me, the outdoor season is going to look more target heavy,
Yeah,
than it is field.
It's going to do that for us this year as well, because I think we're losing a lot of field shoots, so there's not going to be as many field shoots this year.
Really?
So yeah, Stern aren't doing Easter shoot anymore. We've lost Kendall. I can only really name Overton and Pentreff, Exmouth and Avalon as World Archery
Ashford,
shoots now. There's a lot more
Valley.
down.
Yes, we can still hear you, V.
You have no idea. You have no idea what I have to put with.
You're just
Valley is Northern Ireland, for those that don't know.
Oh, Chad, we talked about it last week. We've got to go to Northern Ireland again for a field shoot. I mean, that was just the best journeys ever, right?
The only reason I made it out of Northern Ireland last time was because of Daryl. It was stopping me from going to places where I shouldn't have been going.
I was
that
looking
would be a good video series. We'll go to Ireland. We'll record a full video for the travel and all the shenanigans we get up to. There we go.
I was looking at the field calendar that someone sent me, and it's looking a bit 3D heavy. I'm guessing you didn't write this because you don't do any 3D.
No, that's what they put out there. That's the
Is it really?
the field committee put that together and put it out there so everyone knows that, like, what field shoots are around.
I mean, I love the fact that it's field and 3D comps, but then it has all the target stuff on there for national tour.
Yeah, I think it's if you're trying to organise a shoot, you don't want to have it clash with the big ones, because obviously you want people to turn up.
Yeah.
So it's useful for them to book the shoots around the national tours, especially.
But there is definitely a lot more 3D shoots around it. Well, certainly at the beginning of the season this year.
We've lost some of the field shoots have now been turned into 3D shoots as well.
Yeah.
I know Deer Park put on a lot of 3D shoots, but I'm not sure if they do any field shoots. So there are places that are doing 3D and not field, I think.
Fair enough.
But yeah, it's 20 targets for 3D. 20 targets, 1 or 2 hours per target.
See, I've tried 3D before.
That.
I can't measure 3D. Sure. What are you lipping to her?
Sorry, for anyone wondering, and I'm gonna pan the camera slightly so you can see. The cat screamed to be out, which you will have heard on audio, and the video viewers now get to see it, and then he's just wandered his way back in. So I'm lipping to Jess to go and close the door because it squeaks like a cat getting thrown off a cliff. It needs a little bit of WD-40 on it.
That cat is loving life. No, you don't want WD-40 on it. What you want is polish.
Right. We've now turned into a DIY podcast, ladies and gentlemen.
Silicon based. Mr. Muscle. No, it's not Mr. Muscle, is it?
He does the jobs you hate.
Silicon based polish. Job done. Well, I've looked at it again for years. Look at this. This podcast is doing everything for you.
If anyone ever says we're not a multi-use podcast, they can come back and listen to this episode. DIY, archery, and cats. What else can you ask for?
This podcast you listen to, is it very linear? No.
No. Can you guess how many of us have ADHD? When the host has ADHD, it never goes well. Sorry. Anyway, back to what we're actually meant to be talking about, archery. So yeah, tournament calendar's pretty much the same as everyone else's. We're all going to Durn in March, and I think, don't quote me on this, but I think we're planning to record a video there to show off a little bit of field archery for everyone, which means you'll actually get some useful tips and tricks and some probably useless ones that are fun to do anyway.
Which is why I'm going to the gym.
Yes, Chad's wanting to look good for video. I'm trying to diet, but that's going as well as anything else at the moment.
There'll be a lot of videos of me sucking in my gut and holding my breath, I think.
Dylan told me not to change weight, so I'm not changing weight.
You've got till May.
Oh,
Topics still completely just veering away from what we're going to be talking about here. Like,
go on, what?
national tours, I'll probably try and do all. I think it's 5 or 6 this year. I enjoy them. It's a good chance to see everyone. British Field Champs, maybe. It is like it's a day's drive now on for us. It's a working day's drive. If I don't stop somewhere, so it'll depend on whether one of my co-hosts is planning to go as well.
Where's that?
British Field Champs.
Yeah, we're going.
I got to
I
get
can see B waving because I don't.
We like Exmouth, and we always try and do the British Field Champs.
Yeah.
The one that I'm umming and ahhing about this year is the English Field Champs, which is being held at Overton. Also clashes with the EFA Nationals.
Yeah.
So it's go and get ranking points at the English Champs or go and defend my Nationals title. It might be a case that I go to the EFA Nationals and Madam goes to Overton.
I'm thinking about doing the EFA Nationals depending on the date because I think it'd be fun.
Hold on, where's the EFA Nationals?
We don't know yet.
Peak.
No, that's spring.
Probably going to be. It'll probably be King's Forest.
While
don't know.
While they're talking, I'm going to finish up. So national tours, I'm going to do two of our clubs' home tournaments. There's the 900 and double 720 on the 10th and 11th of May, and our double 720 in Bank Holiday of August. I think it's the 29th this year, or 27th, one of the two. Other than that, I'll fit a couple in here and there. I want to try and get to Glen this year because I've still never been. And
you ain't going on the weekend of your 900.
Don't tempt me. No, because that's already That's a busy month, is May, because you've got our tournament the second weekend. My birthday's the third weekend, and that's the national tour at Surrey. And then we have the British Field Champs. So I'm trying to at least have one weekend where I can stay in my own bed. So we'll see. Maybe. But other than that, just try and get some more 720 head-to-heads and maybe a 1440 here and there if I fancy it. I'm not a huge fan. I enjoy them, but they're long days. My ADHD doesn't like it. I get bored after like 3 dozen at 90 metres and that's it.
That's all right. 3 dozen at 90 metres, and then you move on to the next distance.
I'm bored by that point.
I miss the days of doing feeters.
No.
I enjoy the occasional one, like British Target Champs. And that's it.
No.
Yeah, I go out and practice. I go out and practice 90 metres. If you can shoot 90 metres, everything else is easy.
I still need my one main goal that's left. I've got most of their badges is a 1400, 1440. That's one of the only goals left. Got the 700 badge. I've got the 1250 badge. It's just that's left.
I think my PB is like 92, I think. 1392.
Yeah.
So I decided a couple of years back that I was going to take the club record for the ladies' feeder, thinking, yeah, stick a 1400 in, at least now I can say I've shot a 1400. 1399.
I think my best was from 2021. It was 1387. Just had a good day. I was quite young and shooting a lot then. Could do much better now, I think, if I actually put the same amount of time into 90 metres. But, yeah, I'm just going for the records more than anything. I've got our county ones for most of the major stuff other than a double York, which I don't think I could do to myself.
Double York. That's going
I've
back.
got the single York at 1286. That was a bittersweet day. 3 at 100, 1 at 80, and 1 at 60 dropped.
I've got some of the Warwickshire records, but then it's Warwickshire, so I got Numpty over here and Whitey to beat, and
Yeah.
so
So
I've got a little bit of a kill.
What's that 1440 record at for Warwickshire?
Isn't it 1412 or something, or 1414 from Whitey? I have to look it up.
If it's 1414, it should be from me.
Did you put it in?
Probably not. Of course, I never thought to claim it. I claimed my British record for 90 metres that day.
And what's that set at?
350.
Jesus.
I was gutted. I could have so shot too much.
I'm happy with the low 30.
World record was only 351 at that point.
York.
Right, since we're a Balls and Beers podcast, I'm asking my co-hosts which can next.
Peanut butter, so that I never have to suffer it near you again.
So we were planning.
What?
Oh, that's getting kept in. Sod you. So we were originally planning today to start a little segment on beers, because both me and Ravo enjoy a beer, or a couple. So we both bought the same beer, which was a nice Hobgoblin Ruby. Ravo will show his bottle off. I've already finished that, and I think Ravo's on.
Oh, mine's gone.
Yeah,
It was shit. It was shit. Don't get it. 1405 from Mr. Chris White was the 1440 record, so you need to claim it.
I don't think I can. It was
Statute of limitations passed on that.
Can I? I've still got the score sheet. Could that mean I can claim it?
Probably. Yes, beer segment. 3.5 out of 5. Bit bubbly for me.
Oh, I don't know. I never used to like it. I've grown a lot more to it now.
Oh.
Is that you pouring that drink that sounds?
Yeah, I put that way too close to the mic. Sorry for anyone that's listening with headphones.
Yes. Just to clarify, Dylan isn't sat on the toilet right now.
No, I can prove it.
I've got a few county records.
Have I?
No, I have. You haven't.
Nah.
Your name's not on it.
I never claimed them. Never thought about it at the time.
What to do it?
When you shoot a 1414, it just completely bypasses your mind to go and claim it from a county, especially when you share the county with, like you say, Chris White.
Yeah, most of his records are back from 06 when he was good.
Whitey, although you'll probably never listen to this, he means it. Should we see? We might get him on as a guest at some point. I'm sure he'll hate that.
No, it'll give him a chance to drink beers and it'll be fine.
I want to try. So I'm going to make a promise here now, or hope. We're going to try and do some of these in person over the summer at national tours. Yeah. Whether that happens or not, we'll see. But a couple of beers in a hotel conference room with a microphone and a laptop, I reckon we can do it.
When you say a conference room, you mean a hotel bedroom and standing out at the field shoot?
Yeah, basically. Well, depends on how fancy a hotel someone's staying in. If they've got a conference room,
we're cheap.
Or depending on if it's a Little Shoal one, Chatham Fees, because that's where I'm staying. There we go. Right, Chad's clap will do again. He's like a clipboard. Welcome back. We've taken a small break so we can go and do other things and talk about the rest of the episode. So it is now kind of coming to the end of most people's indoor season. We're recording this on the 1st of February. You won't see it then, but we're recording it then. what's everyone's training looking like at the moment? How's the past week or so been shooting wise?
So I didn't shoot on Tuesday. Can't remember why. I went and shot this morning, and I got my recurve out. So my club started doing it where we have on a club morning we have a coach, a nominated, experienced, competent archer, and this week they some reason picked me. So I took my recurve because I wasn't going to shoot much, and give a lot of coaching. I got some good feedback from the coaching that I was giving, so happy with that. And I managed to shoot some good shots with a recurve, so really happy with that. Training at the moment for me, it's still indoors, so it's just whenever there's an indoor session on, so it's usually a Tuesday night or Saturday morning. If the sun's shining, after next weekend, I'll be out in the field Saturday, Sunday, whenever the sun's shining. After work, it will still be until the box change, I think, that I can't do an awful lot because I can't get out while it's actually daylight. Yeah, as soon as the clock's changed, then I'll open up a lot and stuff. I think I've got a weekend over at Eaton Manor in a few weeks, close to the end of February, maybe even the beginning of March. And yeah, that will be a weekend of making sure the setups are right for outdoors. After next week's competition, it will just be take everything apart, make it outdoor worthy, and then if I have to put indoor arrows on, it's indoor arrows suffering whatever setup that goes through.
Chad, how's your week been?
We're getting there. So I started going to the gym again to try and improve health and fitness a little bit, and that seems to be helping the shooting, which it should if you're doing it right. Just don't try and shoot the morning after a gym session when you do the gym session at night, which is what I learnt today. So we've done a little bit of shooting today. We went to the Merlin shop in Burton, picked up a few little bits that we needed, and shot in the shop for an hour and a half. Normally try and shoot 2 days in the week at night. Tends to be a Wednesday and one other random day because no one really shoots on a Wednesday. No one really shoots after 7 o'clock, so you can go down and have the club relatively empty to yourselves. And at this time of year, with only one indoor shoot left, it's we're still shooting indoors, but you're just fighting that game of why am I bothering, and it is a good way of training your brain to just get into the zone that you need to do and put the arrows through the bow and try and get back to enjoying it, try and figure out different ways of shooting the same goddamn round time after time and bringing the enjoyment back to it.
Chad, at this time of year, are you putting
Kai's joined the club and had the indecency of starting to put club records in, so I'm now chasing after his 597 club record for a WA18, which gives me something to aim for. I can't take his Portsmouth record off him because he cleaned it thick. So,
Chad, for your indoor practice, are you still shooting like Feature 18s, WA 18s, and Portsmouths, or do you put field faces up, like bunny faces up indoors?
I don't put bunny faces up, but that's only because I shoot a dot indoors and I shoot a fibre for field. Madam sitting next to me does. She'll put a bunny face up, shoot 18-metre bunnies. Does make the them 20-metre bunnies when you get to actually do them on a field shoot become less scary. But a 20 centimetre, you know how small a bunny face is. You doing them at 20 metres is absolutely ridiculous, but the more you practice them, the easier they get. So yeah, she does that. Well, I'm not doing Vegas.
Vegas faces.
Everyone shoots on a Vegas face. I tend to score. I always tend to score my WA18 rounds with a Vegas, so you score X10-9. That way, you know your WA score, you know your Vegas score. It's also a bit more of a better indicator of how you're grouping. You're getting more nines on a Vegas round. Something's going wrong, and you need to look at it. It's easier to separate out rather than going, well, it's a WA18 or feature 18. Everything outside that small 10's a 9 anyway. It's if you just look at your scorecard, it's hard to see whether you're getting good groups or not because you can't tell whether it's a 9.1 or a 9.9. So if you score it Vegas style, you know at least you're hitting the big 10's a lot more.
So when's your plan to go next? Go to Vegas, Chad?
It was this year when we originally got married. We was going to go back for our 5-year anniversary. But I think if we wait until our 10-year anniversary, because they've changed the venue, haven't they? It's no longer at the South Point where it was when we got married.
Yeah.
It's the first year where they're having it over multiple venues, multiple hotel casinos. So I want to see how it runs. Have the feedback come back from the people that are going of how it run. I'm sure they know what they're doing and they've got it down pat. But
there's bound to be some bumps.
And the amount of the way that the planes are going this at the moment, I don't really want to get on a plane going to America.
Yeah,
Dylan
crashes in 3 days.
Dylan, when are you going to break your Vegas virginity and get over there?
Yeah, Joe, break that Joe.
First thing I'm planning to do is King's of Archery, Vegas of Europe. Fingers crossed, I might do that in 2025, permitting that my lovely future missus lets me go 2 weeks before the wedding. She sat there on the settee in the archery room, smiling really angrily at me. We will see about that, because it is a bit. It's an expense, literally 14 days, I think it works out before our wedding, but at that point everything will be paid, so I'll know if we have enough funds to go, but if we do, we'll probably try and split it between both of us and one or two other archers, so we can get a bit more of a group going, because I'm one of those people, I feel like if I don't know anyone, I'm not going to enjoy it as much, but that's me personally. Vegas-wise, I've said for the past couple of years I'd like to go and do it, but I'm not shooting 300s consistently. I'm getting there now. I'm shooting 299s, 300s, kind of 24, 25Xs a lot on 5 spots, shooting the Rushmore Rumble faces. But that's with 23s, and I still don't know how I feel about going to shoot 23s when I can shoot 27s. So, yeah, I'm a bit on the fence. Maybe another 2 years. Not 26, maybe 27. We'll see. Going back to that whole thing of practice is the same for me all indoor season, really. Wednesday nights and Friday nights, I shoot a 5 spot, the Rushmore Rumble face normally. Purely for the fact if I can get an extra 2 doesn't mean the time it takes people to shoot 5 and get 7 in. Because we have 2 nights a week where we can go and shoot at our club. And then I'll get as many outdoor sessions in as I can. Kind of early indoor season, it's shooting 20 metres, 18 metres, 20 yards, shooting indoor faces. This time of year, I'm back to 50, shooting as much as I can at 50. I've just got one bow shooting at the moment, so I'm running my indoor arrows off of an outdoor setup, but it's still a nice, consistent setup. I'm shooting the really narrow blades, it's the equivalent of the Freak Show narrows off a Hamsky. So I do get a lot of arrows just kind of popping off every so often.
In which case, you're a teeth man, aren't you? You like to bite your fletchings and put your arrow back.
No, not anymore. I've shortened my draw length to like 3/4 of an inch, and I can actually get my finger over the front of the riser and pull the point back up. I've just got to make sure my thumbs know any of the button, otherwise I'm going to get a finger piercing one of these days.
I mean, that could be interesting to see.
Do you think do you think you'd be swapping it out and going outdoors as much if there was more of a indoor season over here?
I'm not sure. I mean, probably not. I think if we had the same indoor season as the Americans, especially, where their big tournaments are the end of their indoor season, I think their indoor nationals runs December normally. Then you've got Lancaster, then you've got Vegas, you've got their NFA shoot finals, I think, at some point during the first 3 months of the year rather than the last month in December, which I think's one of our issues here. One of my issues is I think if I had a 24/7 venue, I'd probably shoot a lot more indoor rounds. But when I've only got 2 nights a week to practice, this time of year I'm bored of it. We don't have a huge compound contingent at our club that I can shoot against. There's 3 or 4 of us that shoot every Wednesday and Friday, and most of them don't compete. There's one that competes regularly, so I've not got the push to go and shoot against people. I mean, the times that obviously we come down a lot to see UV, Ravo, the times I actually get to spend down there with people competing in practice is probably the more important sessions that I shoot. But I think our indoor season's backwards. Like, I've shot nationals, our regionals have been and gone before nationals, and our county's on until the start of March. So we're going regional, national, county, rather than county, regional, national. Which
Yeah, I
really
think
makes
we're
a
about
lot
to
more
play in that
sense.
same order as that.
Yeah, I'd say it makes much more sense in my mind to go up levels: club, county, regional, national, international. But
Yeah.
The,
it
the,
doesn't
the, the
work that
calendar,
way here.
yeah, the calendar's not set in that way, is it? But outdoors, you don't have that kind of rule anyway. The problem is that over here, with outdoors, you've got a whole season, and we do end the outdoor season with stuff like the national tour finals, probably some inter-county matches, uh, the some of the bigger shoots we end the outdoor season with. But you're right, the indoor season. But yeah, so outdoors, you have your county and regional champs just blended into the season at different times. Whereas, but we make a bigger thing of it because I think the national indoors. I mean, the national indoors used to be at the end of February, and it used to be the top of the season.
Yeah,
That was, national indoors happened, and a lot of stuff died down after that because there wasn't really much space in the calendar after that to do national outdoors. That they brought it forward because it didn't work for people, but sometimes it feels like we've got we're focused on, like you say, the American shoots, stuff like Vegas and Nimes and stuff. We build up to that, and we're trying to get our national shoots before the international shoots. Um, but there's just not enough space in the calendar, especially that time of year. Especially when we've got stuff like Christmas and that to go around. So December kind of works well, and I wonder if it's just the British mentality around it that we're not working up. We work up to the national indoors, and then yeah, like you say, the problem is there's no indoor rankings for us. There's nothing to kind of carry on pushing you. So everyone, and I think I could say a lot of Brits take it as the off season. That is when they down tools, they have a bit of a break, and probably do the national indoors. We know the national indoors fills up in a heartbeat. We've all been sat on that Sport 80 page trying to get the entries in on time. But yeah, perhaps it is just something like a ranking list that we needed to bring more to the indoor season.
Do you think it'd help if there was more head-to-heads? Because I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure the national indoors is the only time we shoot head-to-heads indoors.
there's one in Penrith, I think.
Where the
They've
hell
ran
is
one this
Penrith?
year.
Where the hell is
Oh,
Penrith?
Our way. But seriously, there's not enough. I think
I do understand it to a degree because if someone puts on a shoot and they put on three WA18s rather than a WA18 and head-to-heads, you've got three sessions that you can get people in. It brings more money in, pays for the venue that they probably don't own, that they've probably rented from a school. bring some more money into their club that they can then put into it elsewhere.
That's
But
it.
I do think that it suffers because we don't have the competition head to heads. For then, when people do want to go over to Nimes, the Kings of Archery, the Luxembourg shoot, the GT Open, the Berlin shoot, Vegas,
See,
anything like that, you've got no head to head practice.
for indoors, I think that I agree what you're saying there. That it would cost each person what £30 or £40 to shoot for a day with a head to head. If you're shooting your 720 and then you've got one head to head, two head to head, it's not value for money. It's not gonna work for you. I mean, indoor shoots I've been to, there are very limited compounds, and it would be a major expense for not a lot of matches. Part of
I
me
think we
thinks
could do
that
with a bit more of a tour stage, like a bit more of a build up to the finale. Have indoor nationals as a bit of a British target champs type situation where it's a stage.
I think having it more like running shoots more like the back to back, where you're shooting a match against someone, but the score is the scores still, but you're kind of getting those round robin points.
Yeah, you could do a feature 18 in 4 head to head matches. You do 4 head to head matches of 15 arrows.
But that also then still requires having the right number of people at the shoot to do those matches.
Yeah.
So there's many factors indoors. It doesn't work, unfortunately.
And I think there is such a negative opinion of indoors in the UK, where unless you're going to shoot abroad, a lot of people want to just use it as a season to make changes to their form, take a couple of weeks out or a couple of months out, kind of rest.
Yeah, you don't get people travelling the breadth and width of the country to shoot a WA18, do you? You'll shoot your local ones that you can do from home. If there aren't no local ones, you might go and do a local Portsmouth.
Yeah.
And
see, going back to stuff like 2011, 2012, we used to travel for feature 18s as they were then, WA 18s as they are now. We used to travel so much to try and find a shoot and meet with friends and just go and get those scores in. And because people were travelling, it upped the game. It put the pressure on. It was a proper competition again then.
Yeah.
Now that we do match play, are you all right there, Chad? What have you broke?
I'm all right. Dog's about to get kicked.
Yeah, there's so much on match play. I know match play international is a big thing, but yeah, unfortunately, I just don't think it works too well. Yes, when you're going international, you've got to have that match play, because if you're at that standard where you're shooting, you've got 40 archers that are shooting 595 and above. A 5 point split between 40 archers is not going to tell anyone anything, and it has to go down onto the mental attitude and the match play for it to work. But domestically, no. If you're that archer, I know we've got like Ella Gibson, for example. I know she'll not get that practice of match play in competition stage unless she's travelling around the competitions, but she'll talk to people and she'll find people that will shoot those head-to-head matches with her. Whether they put something on the line, whether they play for £5 or something to try and put it a bit of pressure on, I don't know. But there's ways you can work it if you're going to go to those big shoots, and if you're going to do it, I recommend you look at those match points, look at those matches to see how you can create them, how you can create your pressure, treat your practice like competition.
Yeah, you've got to induce some form of stress, I think is the best word, because when you're in a match that means something, you're stressed. It's the best physical response for it. Your heart rate elevates, you get a little bit nervous, you get a little bit shaky, and you get a little bit kind of tense about it. I think the best thing I ever remember doing to simulate that was at squad one year, and it was literally the winners lost their cleaning duty for the day, so the losers took the winners' cleaning duty after dinner, and
Yeah.
it was one of those ones where you look and go, it realistically it means nothing to anyone, but at the same time, you didn't want to have to clean, so you might as well try and get out of it, and if you win, you get out of it. But then I was the idiot that still got up at 5:30 in the morning because I couldn't sleep, and someone kept knocking his vape over at 2 o'clock in the morning. Someone sat in an orange shirt. Then me and James Mason were sat downstairs brewing a pot of coffee at 5:30 in the morning, going, "Should we just start breakfast soon?" I still never got out of it.
But that's it. I mean,
I still remember when I first started going around doing competitions, being woken up on a Sunday morning at about 10:30 by a phone call saying, "Oh, there's a random Worcester over in Redditch. We can make the second session. Do you want to come and shoot it?" So, yeah, why not? Got nothing better to do. And then walking in and just watching everyone else's face drop because he's walked in and he hasn't booked in, just booked him on the day. Everyone's like, "Oh yeah, I might get first. I might get first." And this idiot walks in and everyone goes, "Oh, I might get third."
Unless I'm shooting a 300, I ain't winning today.
Yeah, I think that's why I still shoot Portsmouth, because Portsmouth, on paper, you should be cleaning it. You should be cleaning a Portsmouth every time you shoot it, and I've only ever cleaned it once. So
At a certain level,
there's your pressure, and the pressure doesn't come from I need to shoot a big score. The pressure comes from I can't miss that 10 because it's so goddamn big.
we've done that before on squads, haven't we? Where we've had that one of count your tens. Your shots don't count unless you count a 10, or you start at 72 and you work your way down every time you shoot a 10. And the way it messes with your head, your head is what everyone knows. Everyone here, certainly on this call, could shoot a 10. Most people probably listening shoot 10s all day long. But it's that changing your head so that you've got to hit a 10. And then when you've got to hit a 10, like it's a life or death situation, doesn't happen.
No. Everything gets tense. Either everything gets really tense or really relaxed. And it's always the opposite of the way you normally shoot.
Yeah.
So I know
Everything starts moving more than it should be. Yeah.
I say I try and shoot really relaxed. So when I get in pressure, I kind of lock out a little bit and everything starts hitting a little lower. And I'm sitting like bottom of the 10, and then if it's really stressed, it's low 9. If it's really, really stressed, it's low 8. And it's like, do I crank my sight because eventually I'm going to settle into this, or do I just aim off? If anyone wants an example of that, 2023 National Tour Finals, first round, me and AJ, go and watch that. Perfect example. About 4th or 5th end, I realised that I'm just being...
And again, it takes you out your comfort zone. It makes you think, doesn't it? And your mind changes. Going into that National Tour final, and I know we're digressing massively from where we are, but I had to go with a completely different game plan at the end of last year with National Tour final to be able to shoot that with a bit of decency, because every year I get to it and the game plan just doesn't pay off. So I went with a completely different game plan to try and get a decent shot out. It worked. It got better shots. But yeah, it does just messes with your head. Back to indoors. We're getting out of indoors.
Away from outdoors.
So we've gone through planning your year and what shoots you're doing. We've gone through some of the tuning, the changes. Did we discuss on how you plan your competitions and how you know what you want to shoot, what you want to build upon through the season, how you balance different competitions so that it keeps it fun, keeps it interesting, works to your season goal?
say indoors, obviously the season goal is national indoors. So I think I can speak for everyone where that is the epitome of most people's indoor season. Sorry, especially us three. Unless you're going to shoot abroad, but a lot of us don't, other than European. But for outdoors, your season goal is really important, and I'd say to anyone listening, set one now. Whether it be score related, ranking related, events related. I want to go and shoot 5 tournaments. Cool, there's a great goal to go and start on. My goal tends to be National Tour finals. I like to make top 8, and I'd like to stay within top 10 ranking wise, preferably top 5. But it's a constant tournament for that. It's rolling rankings, it's every 2 weeks. So if you have 2 weeks off and don't shoot any tournaments and one of yours from last year fades out, then you're done for. And it's not until the next tournament where you can win it back. But my main goal is go out there, try and enjoy it, which I really can't say I did last year. I really did struggle. So this year, my main goal is go and enjoy it, see friends, have some good chat, shoot some good arrows, make some good content. I think that's one of my main goals this year, is try and show archery in its true light. Because a lot of the videos that I've ever shown show it as really serious and competitive, and for anyone that's ever actually been to a high-level tournament, especially on the compound side, it's not. I can't think of a day where I've felt like I'm at each other's throats. It's always a good day with friends.
Mm.
So I want to try and show that through video. But for me, my main goal this year is to go and enjoy it.
That's what I'm trying. I think last year I managed to complete maybe 2 720s. I didn't finish the British Target Champs, partly due to not enjoying it, partly due to not enjoying it because of target panic. I did a lot more field last year, and even that, because of the target panic, I was losing the enjoyment out of it. So my goal for this indoor season was to learn the enjoyment again. We're not professionals, even though we shoot in sponsor shirts. None of us are professionals. We don't get paid for this. We do this because we enjoy it. If you're not enjoying it, then why are you doing it? So I've gone into indoor season with the single goal of I need to enjoy. Whether I go practice, whether I go to a serious tournament, whether I go and shoot at Portsmouth or at Worcester, you need to be doing it because you're enjoying it. Whether it's enjoying the people you're with, enjoying the process that you're trying to go through to improve yourself, or just flinging arrows for the sake of flinging arrows. So my outdoor goal is to find the love for 50 metres again, because I used to really enjoy it, even though it is 50 metres, and we do complain about it a lot, but try and complain less, enjoy more, and hopefully the scores will follow, because they have indoors. The scores have followed indoors. Didn't expect anything from the national indoors, and I think I had my best result in the head-to-heads ever. So it works. It just needs to continue that way and not get halfway through and go, oh, I'm doing well, I'm going to focus on the results now. No, stay focusing on what you're doing to get the right results.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, my brain's not wired that way.
No,
it takes a lot of work.
But no, I know exactly what you're talking about. I used to have this love, and it really annoyed or freaked people out of the club, because everyone that I mainly shot with came from the old days that shot 1440s for ranking and then matches at 70 metres. And I was one of the few people at the club that loved 50 metres. And then the last year and a half, it just became a chore. I mean, I'm making some changes at the moment, which I'm still haven't published yet, but will eventually. I'm making a few changes, and I've actually found that love for the sport again, even indoors, going and shooting, wanting to shoot rather than needing to shoot on a Wednesday and Friday, and getting to know new things about the way I'm shooting, which is a big difference. And it's nice to have that back, I think. And yeah, it's trying to keep that going into 50 metres. But every time I've shot 50 metres, even during this off season, has been fun. I've not had that same panic about myself, which is nice.
I see. For me, I've always loved shooting. I do just love logging off work, going down the field, flinging some sticks, switch off. I work on computers all day. When it's the end of the day, going switching off from that and going out, getting some sunlight, getting some nothing time, just switching off completely is obviously so great for me. In terms of competitions, my priorities are completely different to you two because I've got two little kids. So I have to be very careful which competitions I go, how many competitions a year I go to. Back when my eldest was little, I was doing a lot of competitions. He's on in 2019, which was when my youngest was 2. I ended up doing the European um, European Games, which was 3 weeks away in total. Because I think the World Champs was on then European Games, and I kind of fell out of love with archery at that point because I spent all my year's holiday pretty much at the beginning of the year, so through the summer, uh, getting it qualifying for the European Games and then competing there. And then I just wanted to see my kids a lot more. So now I try and balance it a lot better. Fortunately, my son now comes and shoots some. Doesn't do it an awful lot. But yeah, he shoots some and it's nice to see. But of a weekend, they're still. Occasionally, I get it from both of them that I'm going away for the weekend, going to do some shooting, and you just get, oh, you like they want to do something. So it makes it hard to get away and go and shoot at that point. So I have to plan it in quite practically and get it right. And it is unfortunately trying to do the bigger shoots. If I'm going away for a weekend, it's got to be a big shoot. If I'm doing a local shoot, it's one of those of if I'm not in the shoot, if it's head-to-head rounds, I pack my bags and I'm off so that I can go and see the kids and spend some time with those. And it makes it does seem like a chore for archery, but archery is my little bit of escape, and that's fine as long as I can get back and spend the time with them. But yeah, my year. I mean, we've already booked holidays and stuff this year. And I found out once again we booked a holiday, which means we come back on the Friday, and then we're up to Barnsley on the Saturday. So
every year.
At least it's only one day this year.
At least it's only one day, but it means I'm travelling down south for holiday, and then coming back up to Leicester to get home, and then the following morning go further north to go up to Barnsley, and then coming back down to home. So yeah. It also means it never stops as well, so you don't get that night where you can go and meet with your friends even though you're there and just have a chat. Competition talk, and if you're ever unsure about this one, please think about what you're saying on the shooting line. Shooting line talk is completely different to pub talk. There are things that should be different. Yes, we all have a laugh and a chat, but it has to be different because we're talking competition. People are trying to stay on their A game while on the competition field. No one cares when you're in a pub. So
you can make whatever jokes you want in the pub about people's anything,
about
as long as you know them well enough.
What people's equipment, anything that they're shooting. No one cares in a pub. On the shooting line, it gets into people's head.
Yeah, there's a fine line between pub talk and field talk.
Mm.
And you've really got to know your audience. With both, to be fair, I wouldn't recommend going to the pub with someone you've just met and joking about the way they shoot or anything like that. But at this point, I can say our pub talk probably is not safe for any podcast or public video
not
content.
Suitable for life, let alone work.
Yeah. But as long as you know where that line is, stick to it. Don't talk about people's equipment. Don't talk about their form. Don't talk about the issues they're having. I think we've all had a couple of people talk about the issues we've been having before while we're shooting, while we're trying to work through. And it's one of those ones where you could quite happily tell them where to shove it.
Yes.
Yeah, it's one of them. You might be having a bad day and you've only shot a 698 and you're complaining about it, and there's a guy stood behind you who can't complain about his bad day and he can't break a 600 because you're already pissing the moan about only shooting a 698. It's like swings and roundabouts. Everyone's dealing with their own crap, especially on the shooting line.
Yeah.
Last year I shot three 698, 699s. Every single time I was annoyed, and there was each time someone going, "It's not that bad. I've only shot 6 something," and it's like it's perspective.
Yeah.
I'm wanting to break 700 consistently, 705, 710, be in that upper score category.
I've said it before.
Working towards.
Yeah, I've said it before. I'd much rather shoot a 698 than a 699.
Yeah. My first ever
I hate
stupid high score
699s.
is a target there, which
Got
will be
so
getting
many of them.
European Youth Cup, first ever big international tournament for GB. Last arrow was an 8 for a 698. It's circled on the target, and at some point I might put a little screen cap of it in, and it's circled going last arrow, and I think it's got "you idiot" underneath it, because I got into my own head it was a 58 with an 8. But it was the first big score I'd ever shot over 691, and I think that set me where I was on my way to start shooting 700, and I've broken it a handful of times in tournament and a handful of times in practice. I shot in tournament before practice.
It took me a long time to get my practice PB over my competition PB at 50 metres.
Yeah.
And it was just a random practice session where I noticed that my timing was out back when I was shooting the edge, and my PB had been sat at 703 since I set it in competition for a long time. Got annoyed, corrected what was wrong with the bow, and just went out and shot 72 arrows and shot a 711. It's like, because I weren't thinking about shooting score, I was shooting about thinking about being annoyed that I'd probably been shooting for 2 weeks with a mistimed bow because I hadn't checked the damn thing. And to then just put that one simple change, put the bow in time, didn't move anything else, and every arrow was just fine in the middle without even thinking about it. And by the end of 72 hours, I'd got 711. That was when my practice. But that's been my practice PB for years now.
Nice.
I'd say my PB was 680 in practice. I shot a 691 in tournament, 2 back to back on a double 720. Never went anywhere. I think I shot a 691 in practice once. Then jumped to a 698 in tournament. Again, never got anywhere near that in practice. Shot a 703, then a 704 in tournament. Then one day was just messing around with the bow, changed something and shot a 709. And never been anywhere near it since.
See,
But it's something to work towards. I mean, we always say it's 710 is the new 700.
yeah, definitely.
It is if you're looking at the international scores, because 700 barely breaks the top 30 now, I think.
We say it because we're trying to get the standards up in the UK, because the world standards has risen so much that, yeah, if you want to be competitive at World Cups, World Champs, anything like that, you've got to be hitting 710 as a score so that you can try and push it. You can try and get those scores in. My World Cup PB straight out the gates was a 710. My first World Cup in Shanghai back in 2012. And that was a first place qualification score. Nowadays, that will probably get you 6th, 7th, and it is trying to push those scores and trying to get those scores risen.
Top scores now, we're talking 715 plus.
Mm.
I mean, I think I remember, was it Antalya last year? 715 got you 6th, which is mental for anyone that's not a professional archer. It's terrifying to think of that you could go to a national tournament, shoot a 700 and be 30th. I mean, the first 1400 I ever shot was Barnsley last year. It was double 720, shot a 700 and a 701 and came fourth. And it was one of those ones where I just had a laugh. First time I'd ever shot that high in a double, but yeah, it was a learning experience, and it's the first time I broke 1400, so I'll always remember it. But it's one of those ones where you just go, really? 1404th?
Seen it so many times. We talk about it so many times that, I remember it's stuff like when we were doing the feater 1400s, or a full feater, and a 1400 was so rare, so common, so rare. Sorry, and then there were days when there was 6 people shooting a 1400. So there's someone in 6th place with a 1400, and they gobsmacked by it, thinking they should have won the day.
Yeah.
And actually, there's a lot of people in front of them because it was a nice day.
31st place at Antalya last year was a 700. That's how far it down the 700s went.
So you're talking middle of the pack for matches on a 700.
Yeah.
Which is... It's great. It's great to see because it means performance is getting so much higher. But it is also slightly terrifying.
Yeah, top 5 were above 710. And this is Antalya, and I'm guessing with it being Antalya, it was windy.
Yeah.
Not perfectly flat, calm, perfect conditions. You got a bunch of 709s, 708s. Yeah, so that standard is just, it's going off the charts now. And then the women, top 8 with 700s at Antalya.
Yeah. I mean, I remember the Barnsley before last year. I think it was 12 of us that shot 700 plus on the 720 head-to-head day. And I think that was a first for Archery GB because they posted about it.
There's a photo of us somewhere all holding the board with our scores on.
Yeah, I think I've still got that somewhere. I've got a photo from last year of all the 1400 shooters. I think there was 6 of us, 2 women and 4 men. But yeah, scores are getting seriously high, and it's good, but it also means that people that can't do professional archery do struggle at the international events. I mean, I think GB wise, there's Ella that's professional. The rest of us have other means of obviously earning money. So we don't have that luxury of shooting all the time.
Whose dog is it?
Yeah.
He's going to clear out the garden. It's fine.
I mean, Ella's worked hard for it, and she does put the practice in. You watch her Instagram, and she's shooting every day for all the time she could put into it, which is excellent. And I mean, she puts the scores in to prove it. But for the gents, there's no professionals working just from archery. A lot of people are still at uni, which is great, but they've still got work to do. They've still got coursework. I mean, obviously you, Chad, Neil, James works. So it's hard.
Yeah. If you're not a recurve, if you're not on the Olympic program, you're not getting money from any governing body. You've got to get money from somewhere else. Unless you've won the lottery, you're not going to be shooting unless you've got the drive like Ella to go, right, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do it. It's not an easy thing to do. I think a lot of people do look at Ella and go, "What? She seems to be doing all right." It's like there's a lot of iceberg underneath that water that you don't see of what Ella does to be able to do it professionally.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you watch any of her stories on Instagram, and she's a good one to follow if you want tuning tips and all that. I mean, she's obviously just moved to Maibo with yous. She talks a lot about her process and her practice and her training, and how she does all of her training, and how she does all of her tuning throughout the year. And it is really good information. It's a great little segment on talk tuning, which everyone, if you don't know what talk tuning is, go and look at it. But yeah, you've just got to have that drive, and I think you've got to hit it at the right time and with the right people sometimes. And you've got to have that kind of push to know that you're going to be the best. And I mean, yeah, it's mental to think. I mean, she's equalled the men's world record, which is terrifying. I was there for it. I think we were all watching that last end through binos or spotting scopes, holding our breath.
And
To be fair, I think
she knows you stood there watching.
yeah. And I think we worked out she was only 2 or 3 X's away from Mikey's highest X count for 718 as well. I think she was well above Braden's world record, but Mikey's highest 718, she was 2 or 3 X's away from it. Or above it, I can't remember. It was 6 or 7 months ago, I feel like now. But yeah, it's the level of archery now is getting really, really high, which is good. But you need to have people pushing you to be better and better.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
great.
we are approaching nearly 2 hours worth of recording time. So I think
Give it to the editor. Get it done.
Chad wants to go and watch the Royal Rumble. Raven wants to go to bed. So do I. So everyone give yourselves a shout out on your social medias, because my lovely missus pointed out that we should actually tell people where to find us. Chad, where can we find you?
Main page is on the Facebooks, which I do believe it's Carl the Chad Richards My Bow Pro Staff. I don't know why it's such a long title, but it is. Hold on, I'll tell you now. No, I don't want to post anything.
He's Facebooking it.
No, you can't see the screen. Carl the Chad Richards My Bow Pro Staff on Facebook. The handle at the bottom of the screen, I'm guessing they can see that. Carl720x10 is my Instagram handle. There is a TikTok that we don't actually post on, but we'll see whether we can do any more of them throughout the year. But I don't know the name of that, so I'm not going to tell you. It'll be nice Easter egg for you to find if you can find it, because if you can find it, let me know, and I'll be able to find it then.
Everyone give us a shout out where we can find you.
So I'm Adam Ravenscroft Archery. That's the main one to follow me on, where I post all my archery stuff. I am also on Hotshot Adam on Instagram, if that's where you want to go. Might be a bit harder to follow me because not every post is public, so it has to be approved and you have to be let in. Dylan.
You can find me at crow_with_a_bow_2 on Instagram.
More underscores. We need more underscores.
I want to do camel case, but they don't like that on Instagram, so it's all capitals. Or you can find me at Dylan Crow with a Bow Archery on Facebook. If you're listening on Spotify or any other podcast streaming service, you can find us on YouTube at Bows and Beers Media. We are planning on posting some live episodes regarding field archery and our national tour series coming up. And our video podcast will also be posted there if you want to go and watch them. Other than that, thank you very much for listening, and we will see you on the next episode. Say bye, everyone.
If you listen, adios.